Hey, Todd here, and welcome to another Acme Machining. Today what I want to do is I want to upgrade my center rest here for the lathe. Now this here, it's not a high big dollar fancy lathe, it's a decent lathe, but it just has the brass ends on it. And what I want to do is I've got a set of cam followers. And they are out of I think a Chrysler 2.7. I forget what it's made them out of. But this has got a very precision roller in it. It's got little needle bearings in it. It's all hardened. It's going to be perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to make a new, zoom in here just a little bit. See if I can get the buttons right. Okay. So what I want to do here is I'm going to machine away, try to hold this so it'll focus. Going to machine away the excess material right here just to get down to that center pin. Going to do it on a couple spots, and then I will end up with a roller. Cut one out here. I'm not going to pick up all the pins, but I'm going to have to remake these followers, and it's going to have a roller in it like so. Get my big fingers out of the way, but it'll basically be a roller on the end there, and it'll make this a better steady rest. So I'm going to see what we can do. Definitely going to have some fun, so come along, enjoy. Okay, first thing I got to do, I'll take one of these out. And they are just under 18 millimeters. Or 7075 inches, 0.707, 707. There's no O's in decimal points, right? And we are just under 2 inches long. So I'm going to cut off some 3/4 inch chromoly stock, and I'm probably going to cut them off, probably 2.5 inches long. I'll start with that. Okay, I actually decided I am going to clean these up, get them all cut to the 0.7075. See if I can get within half a thou. Haha, right. But I'm just going to start off, going to center drill this. And support it with a live center. And I'll get these cleaned up. And I'll probably start drilling and tapping and parting them off. rust off these first. One of the CNC shops donated this to me because it had surface rust on it. So we can't afford to fart around with that stuff, but free is good, so I'll take it. Thank you very much to A&R Machining. Give me a thumbs up if you like how the new camera's working. I know I like it. It's a lot easier to pay attention to what I'm doing, and it doesn't shut off every 10 minutes like the other one did. So. I'm going to get a good chunk of this cleaned off. I'll get this all cleaned off and I'll bring you all back. How's that sound? Okay, folks. Get in here and measure this. And hopefully you can see that. That is 707 and a half. Now when you're using sandpaper, don't go wrapping it around your finger and trying to get a good grip. You don't want to grip it. I just got it the end of my fingers there. That way if it catches, I'm safe. It's not going to pull me in the machine, okay? There, you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. So I did hit it within the half a thou. I'm just about 2/10 off, so that makes me pretty happy. Okay, folks, just a little tip. I've been using these for years, working on cars and stuff. And I get little parts like this roller, these needle bearings. Hey, I don't want to lose these. I lose them, project screwed up, okay? Just little muffin tins. They work great. So, I'm just going to zoom you in here. Yeah, take your wife out, tell her you want to buy some new muffin tins for her. She'll be happy, and then you keep her old ones. That's what I usually do. Now, I'm going to leave myself just a little bit more. And I've got to have some material for the pin. So if I go to 60, I'm going to go 2.75, 2 3/4 inch. I'm going to part these off 2 3/4 inch. Over the lathe we go. Okay, 2 3/4. So I'm just going to set that up to the edge of my work. And I'm going to come out to there. And we'll part it off. No, we won't. Or it doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll part it off. We can drill the centers after. It don't matter. It's going to be easier to work with short pieces than with longer pieces. first piece. And we got to go over the milling machine with it and do some work on it. Okay. We're going to get to extracting these here rollers out of here. Come up 20 at a time. I am not in a rush. Good thing I'm not in a rush, because I just checked the thread pitch on that, and it's a 10 millimeter by 1.0 thread pitch, so I had to order a tap. So see that on Tuesday. That down until it breaks. Okay, we flip that over. These small end mills, I try to get them double-ended, just for that occasion. Be a little more patient with this one. Okay. Sure you can see that good. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing this in. You see the roller start to move? I'm backing off just a little bit. Zero my DRO. I don't want to be taking the side off the roller. I want to get the material out of there. Everything's going to get all cleaned up, washed up, oiled up, greased up, you name it. So I've got my zero set. I'm going to push away a little bit because it's just not quite wide enough to do it all in one sweep with this little cutter. So I'm up another 20. Up another 20 and just keep on chipping away. Just trying to find the very edge of that roller pin, because using everything over except the stamped steel body. I'm only going to go 15 this time. I think I'm getting real close. I brought the Y back out to its 0 mark that I found earlier. Took the last 5 thou off of there. And I can see a different color, so for all intents and purposes, I am through that. Yeah, so I'm just touching the pin. You can see the little rollers in there, and the side of the end mill was just touching that big roller. So there's no scarring along here. It was just touching. Now that's full of chips and stuff like that. It's going to get cleaned up good, and I'm not going to bore you to death. I'm going to take and I'm going to flip that around so I can see rather than working with a mirror. Flip it around just like that and rinse and repeat. And the last one, I just held it in the vise, gave it a little tap with a hammer, and it split wide open. So we'll bring you back when we get through the other side. Okay, you can see right here, I hope you can see, but it just changes color right there and there. So I'm just touching that pin and that's all. Doesn't matter if I touch the pin because it's just going to get pressed into the new followers. And just going to zoom things back here. That in my handy little tray. Gotta save them. That's why these little muffin tins are great. There's that piece. And put that right into the little muffin tin. I'll take this apart and get washed and oiled. Now there is a sharp edge. Get rid of that flashlight. There is a sharp edge right here, and I'm just going to take and clean it off with the Scotch-Brite wheel. And I just barely touch those. You can probably see a little right here. Just barely touch that end and that end, but it doesn't matter. It's never going to see any harm's way. I'm going to take these over the lathe. I'm going to clean them up with a Scotch-Brite wheel just to take the sharp edge off, because I can feel it. I measured the last one. I had about, they just punch these in place, probably with a fancy tool that they've got set up when they're making 1 million of these a day. And it just mushroomed the top of that pin about 6-7 thou. So just going to go over the lathe, clean it off with a Scotch-Brite wheel, and we'll continue. Let's just Scotch-Brite pad on a die grinder, 90-degree die grinder. Now this is going to be hard on your ears, so take your headphones off for a minute. And I'm just going to clean this up quickly. All I'm doing is I'm hitting the very edge of this. That there is reading 8 thou mushroom. Still got about 4 thou on that. I only got about 1 thou there, so just going to leave it at that. That'll be a little press fit. It's probably just going to get touched with the TIG torch when I put them in, so. And it's just rinse and repeat on the other end, so. I will, I'm probably going to put things away for a little bit. Like I said, I've ordered up a 10mm by 1.0 thread pitch, and so I'll put that away for a little bit, and we'll get back when we get the parts to finish this off. So I've got the other pin taken out and cleaned up. I've got one more to do. I'm not going to bore you with it. I've got that. I'll just do that quickly before I change out for another job, and maybe I'll get some footage of this job I got coming in here. So okay, see you later. We're still waiting for the tap to come in. It should be in later today, so I figured I'd get back to this. Got one piece in the mill, and I've got the center finder set up, so I'm going to find center of this. Walk this in slowly. kick up, there we go. Up and over. Make sure again. One, half, enter. Up. Now, I pick one axis and I do it first, doesn't matter which one you do first. But right now, I am very close to center. At first I was just guessing where my y-axis was, or my x-axis when I was doing my center find. So I just eyeballed it. It should give you center, but just to be sure that we're not getting a roll off difference from one side to the other, I'll go back and I'll check it. Again, once I get this here, Y0. Up. Over, bring it back down. Half, enter, up. Now that should have me dead center, but I just do a sanity check here. Like I said, the first time I went for this Y center, I was just eyeballing it for what was close. Y0, up. Y, half, enter. Now, the reason I did that is just going to show you here on my lead knocker. Trying to find the center of, I'm going to make sure that we're in view. Yes, we are. Okay, trying to find the center of this. Now, I'm going to exaggerate and say that I'm blind in one eye, but if I try to take the center from here and I zero up and then I go straight down and I try to pick up the other measurement there and I half it on my DRO, that should give me perfect, the same as this does, top and bottom, because anywheres on this in one axis should be the same. So I do one check, two check, bring it back, I check here, and then just to be sure, now that I've got very, very close, I'll check this one last time. Only takes a minute, and like I said, just a sanity check, folks. So now I am centered up over this, and I'm going to take that out. The measurement I am going for if I just take one of these here, is 455-ish. Now remember, I was hammering on that, so it's not exact. And that puts me a little bigger than 7/16. That's the closest size I got. So I'm going to jump up and change out, put a 7/16 end mill. Then I'm going to plow through there and start to get a slot made for this roller. We'll bring you back once we're set up with the end mill. All I want is that setting proud, like I showed you earlier, and I've got about 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that's 0.668. I'm going to zero it. And I'm going to come back here, and I've got to take that down 0.545. Okay, so just going to wipe the crap off this again. Zero. So there we are. So anywhere is about 550-ish. Okay. So I can set this whatever I want. Like I said, all I want, I'll get my arm out of the way so you guys can see. I just want that to be proud of the top. Okay? So, because I've got to have some strength there for the pin. And, yeah. So, I'm going to pick a number. I said 545. I'm going to stick with it. So I'll get my Sharpie out and I'll mark that down, and then we'll start cutting a groove. Okay. Come up until I touch off. There, I've heard it. So I'll set my Z. Unlock my X. Y is locked. And I'm not in a hurry, so I'm just going to take 20 at a time. Turn that up to 1200 RPM, it's carbide, so you should be able to take it.
on cutting in the same direction because it doesn't throw chips at me.
Okay, folks, so I brought that down to 0.455. I wanted to give myself a little bit of clearance on the bottom for the roller. I've measured the rollers and they are 0.445, and I want to give a little bit of clearance so they'll roll properly. So I'm going to widen that gap up to 450. I just measured the gap right now that I have, and I'm at 432, and so that's 18 thou I got to open up. So I'm just going to move my, going to unlock my Y, and I'm going to move the table in 9,000. Lock my table back up. And we'll just feed back through here. Yes, it's moving, I'm just not in a hurry. Took some time. I ended up taking 35 thou per cut, but I just wanted to feel the machine out and see how it was doing. I'll have a little deburring. I am fine milling. This machine is very rigid. It's only a year old and I don't have any problem doing fine milling with this. And it leaves a beautiful finish with fine milling. I'll bring you back. Okay, so I got that cut through. I got interrupted by a call center from Florida. I'm in Acme, Alberta. Probably about 4,000 miles away from Florida. And they told me that my customers can't find me on Google. And I said, you found me in Florida, you idiot. Anyway, so I am going to take and I'm going to feed this. I got to start my phase converter here. Just going to come out 9 thou in the other direction. You guys can still see that. I've got some rags to pull off of there, and I've got some depth to go down. I stopped at 455 and I was supposed to go to 555, so oops, not perfect, am I? So set this back to 0. Love having a DRO. If any of you folks are thinking about, do I need a DRO? The answer is yes. Don't make yourself suffer without one. Okay, I'm not going to make you guys suffer through this, so I'll bring you back once I get the next little bit done here. Get down to the right measurement. Told you I was going to write it down, but I didn't. Okay, that's what I wanted to get the first time. Stupid me. So, all I got now is gonna have to drill a hole there. I'd like to have a reamer of the proper size so I can press fit those pins in. I may make you guys wait for that. I might order a reamer. So we'll do a test drill on a piece of scrap and see how those pins fit. But if I need to, I'll get a proper reamer to fit in there. But that there is going to be just perfect to go in there like that. I'm supposed to have a tap coming in so I can get the other pieces tapped. The fit in here is really, really nice. It feels as good as it did, if not better than in the old rocker stand. Like I said, I beat on these with the hammer so you can't really. But I'm going to do the other two off camera. I'll bring you back when it comes to drilling the holes and tapping. And then we'll get it together and we'll have a better center rest. So, like I said, I'm going to get the other ones done off camera. I'm not going to bore you to death by watching me do something like that. I'd have to mail you all a pillow and have a nap, but we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I got 3 of these somewheres. Here's one. Now what I got to do is I have to drill a hole through here, and the hole size is 0.298 and I believe 1964s. 1964 is 296.8, so 297. So that'll give me a thou press fit in there. So that should work if I do a 1964's hole, and then I'll be able to get those mounted up in there. And now one thing I got to do is I got to make sure this is in frame here. Make sure that focuses. Okay, I'll bring it down here. Flip my screen around so I can see what's going on here. Okay, so I got to make sure that this is level. So what I've done is I've got this little stirrup 134. What I did is I just put it in the groove with some feeler gauges to take up the slack, so that's nice and tight. and I'm going to be able to put this in a V-block in the vise and level it up so it's nice and perfect. So when I come down through here and drill, it's perpendicular. So we are going to go over to the mill and set this up in the vise with the level, and then I'll get ready to drill it. So over to the mill we go. Let's see if I can get you guys a screenshot of this. There's the bubble right between the lines. So tighten that off. We'll remove the little sterret, and going to put a drill chuck in there and get the center finder going again. So be back in a moment. I'm going to do this over again because I couldn't see the back side of that. I want to make sure that I wasn't touching up here, that I was just touching down there. You're to be safe than sorry, folks. To half of the diameter, and zero my X again. Okay, so right now my drill is lined up in the center this way and right over the edge of that. So now I've just got to do some math here, so I'll figure that out and I'll bring you back in a second. Okay folks, I did my calculations, and it should have been about 0.216 in from the end, but that only left me 67 thousandths on the top of a press fit pin, and I don't want to take a chance on that. So I've moved it in another 24 thousandths, and I am going to have to go and make the bottom groove of this deeper for the 216 gave me 5 thousandths on the bottom. So I wanted to keep some clearance there, and so 240 definitely takes me into negative clearance, but it's easier to just make the pocket a little deeper. I've made these longer than I needed to have them, so that's not going to be an issue. And I just set that pin in there so you guys can get an idea of, after I drill this hole, how much clearance I've got between the pin and the end of the roller. And if necessary, after I get this all drilled out and stuff like that, I can round off this end. Just do it on the belt sander, but I can round it off so I got clearance on the outside of the roller, and I'm sure I'm going to have clearance on the roller itself. But I just going to go on the side of caution and give myself an extra 24th thou on the end of that, so it gives me a little more meat. I don't want to split it and have it go to crap in the last moment. So okay, I'm going to pull that pin out of there and I'm going to start pecking away at that. Myself a little oil there. So that's through the first side. And I said 1964s, but I'm just going to work my way through this slowly and not getting in a hurry. Got a lot of time into this right now, so. And I'm just taking it slow. Don't need any mishaps. Now that was 9/32. I've got gauge pens, so I'm going to go grab my gauge pens. I just want to verify that that's correct. Okay, I was just able to put a 281 gauge pin in there, which is within 2/10 of, well, that drill bit should be 2/10 over. And this one should bring us 1 thou under. So. should go with some a little bit of persuasion behind it. Feels like it just wants to start, but it does not. So we should be looking at a gauge pin of 1964 is 297. There's 297, and you can see how tight that is. It stays on its own, so. The 298 is going to be beautiful when I put it in there. So, I am going to do up the other two, the same as this. I'm going to show you what I was scared of. You can see how much material I've got in the top here. It's not a whole lot. And when I center that up, it still brings me proud of the top of this, so that's good. And I can just take these little corners off with the belt sander, but I am going to have to take some more out of the bottom of the saddle, but that is not a problem. I'm going to do up the other two like this, and then I'm going to do the three of them, making the saddles deeper, and I'll bring you back when it's time to go over to the lathe and start drilling out the threaded hole in the middle. Okay, now I gotta cut this groove down. I'm gonna cut it 24 deeper, 25 deeper actually, and just need to get it lined up again. So what I did is I took a parallel, made sure the parallel was straight to start with, and then I took an expandable parallel to lock it into the groove. And I'm at 0 there. And I'm at 5 thou there. So 5 thou over 5 inches. Not worried about that. It's actually less than 5 thou, so. Not for NASA, it's going to be fine. There is clearance available in there, so I just wanted to show you how I did that. And it's just put an expanding parallel in the groove with a 6-inch parallel, and I did check and make sure that that was straight against a straight edge. And you can't put any force, you got to loosen it off and just tap it with your finger very lightly. But that's in there. Now let's put an end mill in. I'm not going to do that, you've seen me do that. I'm going to put an end mill in, and well, I'm going to find my center first here. But yeah, this is all just rinse and repeat, and I'll bring you back after. Okay. So you see here there's like a key slot cut in this so it doesn't spin, and it's locked in by that grub screw and lock nut. And we have got to do the same with our lower ones here, our new ones. So I'm going to just get that in here where you guys can see good. Okay, I just put one of my gauge pins in here. So I have got to cut a slot like this down in here. And I'm just looking at how far I don't want to bring it up to the hole here because it'll weaken it, okay? So I'm going to leave it a little bit off. Now one thing I have looked at is I have this one screwed in and the space from here to here is smaller than here to here. So when I'm all done this, I am going to take a T-slot bit and I'm going to cut away some of this so this here can actually go down in a little bit farther. So I'm probably going to get an extra 1/8 of an inch, and that'll bring it that it's actually lower than this one here, because right now this one's at 10.8 and this one's just above 12 millimeter. So if I change that by a couple millimeters, it'll be better than before. So I'll get that so it goes in a little bit farther. I've got to get everything all together before I decide how far in it's going to go. But all I've done is I've taken my Sharpie marker and I've gone in here and marked this. So yeah, I just got a mark right there. And like I said, I'm just going to bring it about 1/8 of an inch more, okay? So I've got one set up in the mill. I'll show you how I'm setting these up so that I get this slot 100% in line with the pin. So over to the mill we go. Let's make some more chips. So what I've done here is I've just taken my gauge pin that I use when I did my drilling to make sure that I had the right size. And this gauge pin is the same size as the rollers in this project. So, and I've just got it chucked up and I've set it up. I've got it setting on a couple parallels. I don't know if you can, well, you can barely see the parallels underneath there. But yeah, I've got that gauge pin so it runs smoothly there. So just going to take that out and I am going to run the slot in the old one here. This one here. It's a 5 millimeter slot. Now the pin that on the grub screw is actually a little less than 4 millimeter, and I have a 4 millimeter end mill, so I'm going to put the 4 millimeter end mill in there and going to run it through, because the less clearance I have allowing it to get off center, the better this is going to be. So I'm going to get this changed over. I've got my DRO zeroed in. And I have moved it and gone back to it. And it's been perfect. Okay, so here we go. I am going to leave myself about half an inch away from that. So, easiest way to do that, DRO. So if I stop this at half an inch, there's half an inch there, and yeah, that'd be plenty of room. So. Running about 1600 RPM. It's going to come up. connection, so setting the Z at 0. Also another thing I have to measure is depth on that groove is 64,000. So I'm just going to take 20 at a time. And there's my 500. Cutting good. Just a Chinesium 4-flute metric end mill. This cut brings me to 60 thou. This a little blow away from you folks. Don't want you getting metal chips in your eyes, blowing shit into the camera. Try to do this so you guys can see. And there's my grub screw that's going to guide that along, so it fits nice. I'm just going to take it another, like I said, the other one is 64 thou deep. So I've also got the curvature of that, so I'm just going to take it another we'll give it 10 thou. Call it 70. Got to pick a number somewheres. speed and do the last little bit by hand. There we are. Okay, so I've got the vise loose, and what I've done is I've just taken and fed that through like that, and you see it slides. It's all the way down through the pin. I believe you guys can see that. And I'm just tightening up my vise slowly as I make sure that I haven't lost center. And of course I've moved this way, like closer to you, so I'm just going to zero out my x-axis again because I'm keeping that half inch spacing. So center to center from this pin to where this 4mm end mill is going to come into the rear, and that's how I set that up. So I'm going to get the other two done here quickly, and like I said, they're just going down to 70 thou depth groove because I've got a little bit of a curvature here, and when I measured those, I measured them across these flats. Okay, so when you're measuring across the flats, you got a different spot. Okay, easy way to figure that out. I hope you're in. I've got 0.691 there, and I'm just going to zero this out on, no, wrong button folks, sorry. So if I zero out there, you see I'm 16 thou difference there. So I went an extra 6, so 10 thou difference ain't gonna make a whole lot on this here groove. I've got plenty of engagement. I'm gonna set that there and make sure that you guys have that in frame. Yeah, you do. So yeah, plenty of engagement there. So that's going to keep me in line, so that's not a problem. And as soon as I get these other two cut down, over to the mill we go, and we'll get that hole drilled out and get it tapped for our 10 millimeter 1.0 thread pitch. So it's an odd thread pitch, and I've got a little bit of this here, a little bit of this cut off left. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test fit that little piece to make sure, because I've got too much time invested right now to screw these up. So okay, I'll get these done, and I will see you over the bench when I got the three of them sitting there. Okay, I got my new tap in. I got it a few days back. Now, it's a Viking tap. I like their quality. They're really good. They stand up good. The only thing I don't like about this particular tap is when I look at the length of this body, oh, excuse me, when I look at the length of the body and the length of the tap, I can't go all the way in as far as I want. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these, and I'll show you something they did here. See if I can get you so you can see. Those threads only go in about 1/2 inch. Okay, so what they did is they bored from inside of here out to the end, and my problem right now is until I get these all together, I can't tell how long I want to make the body of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in the lathe. I'm going to drill from this end and start tapping, because the only important part is to make sure that I have tap threads here where the screw engages. Okay, and, oh, sorry about that. And I did do a test just to make sure that my eyes weren't deceiving me when I measured this up, because it's a weird size. It's 10 millimeter by 1.0 thread pitch. And so I took a piece that I had left over and drilled it out, and that there is just as smooth as a kitten. So, but yeah, so all I need to do is make sure that I have good engagements at the end of this, and I know I'm going to be parting off at least ½ inch of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting threads in from the other end, and then I'll follow it with a bore, and you can see that I can take and I can run this through all the way and get my good thread engagement. Okay, try to keep that in. Yeah, I can run that through all the way. I am going to shorten these all up about 3/8 of an inch, because the way it works is this collar, excuse me, a bit. This collar fits in here and is locked there. Okay, now oh, I got that too tight. Now I want that to go in about that far when I'm all done, and you can see that I'm already sticking out. I'm proud up here on the top side. Get something to point with. So I'm proud up here. So I've got to trim up this much material off the end of those, because that sinks in there. Come on. Whenever you're trying to do something, everything's in the way. That sinks in there that much, and I'm probably going to be taking another 1/8 of an inch off of the end of this afterwards. But first of all, I'm going to start up by getting that that much material trimmed off. What do I got here? Uh, 0.470. So I'll start by doing, well, I'm going to take 500 off, because I know I'm going to take a little more off afterwards anyway. So we'll take 500 off and see where that gets us. Okay, sorry, out of frame. I'm bad. Going to take 500 thou off of this end and get it threaded up and see where that puts us, folks. Okay, so we're over to the lathe and we're taking our piece here. Now, one thing we've got to remember, we got a groove in here, okay? So when you mount it in the lathe, you don't want the groove going to the jaw, because that'll set it off center. So just set the groove so it's in between. And tighten it up there. Okay, now I've measured this one off. It's a little different than the other one. I did cheat. I did one off camera because I wanted to get it down packed before I show you guys how not to do it, but I got lucky and it went through fine. So I've got one in there. I'll show you in a minute. But first I'm going to do this one up, and I come to an overall length of 2.288, and this one is 2.740, so I've got to cut off 4.32. So I'm just going to back the camera out of the way here, because I need room to work. And now I've just touched off there, and You guys are not going to be able to see this well because of the glare. Let's see if I can get you a little different angle here to get you out of the glare. Okay, this little gauge block I've got set up, and all I do is I've touched off my work, as you've seen, and I just bring that up, and that is my 0. Now, it's got a locking tab on it, but this has got a rare earth magnet in it, about the size of a sugar cube, and it does not move. So I'm going to get you back. I can't get the indicator and the work so you can see. But we're just going to pick away here. And what I'm doing is I'm coming in, I'm just taking 50 at a time. I'm not in a big hurry. Neither is the machine. There we go.
Just got to repeat this until I get to my 432 and just take some time here. I haven't learned how to do this fast forward thing yet on the camera, or time lapse, whatever you want to call it. But I'll do a couple of these with you, and that brings me to 150. I'm going to bring you guys back when I get through this, get it down to the size I want, and then we got to drill and tap it. Okay, so I got that shaved down to the 2" .288, and I'm just going to clean it up with a file here. That feels good. Come in, center drill it. Open this up to 5/16, and then I'm going to go to my tap size of 9mm. I'm starting with a 5/16 because I'm imperial drills are a lot cheaper than metric drills, even though we've been with the metric system for about almost 50 years here in Canada. But go to your local hardware store and try to buy anything that's metric. Good luck. We're through there.
Now I did say that I was going to drill this from the other side and tap it, but you'll see what I'm going to do here in just a minute. Done with my tap size. Wring that out quickly. And turn it around. Now I've taken some measurements over the other, on the other ones, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to butt that up there, put a little oil on things first. And I'm going in 800ths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I could have done that after I tapped, but drilling does mess up the end of the tapping. So if I take this step, I guess you take 2 steps here, turn it over, or you feed the tap in after you do it again. So it doesn't really matter. It's got to be flipped over one side and then the other, or it's got to be, where's my tap now? Okay, so now I'm just gonna, got aluminum jaws on here so I'm not hurting my gauge pin any. Wipe it up. So there's one roller, and you can see that. Okay, back over to the welding bench and we'll get this here. Okay folks, there's 2 out of 3 in there. Put those away someplace for safekeeping. Now, one thing I'm noticing, zoom in and see if you pick up on it. These are not lining up. This one is at an angle like this one's at an angle like that. They have not set these. So, I guess that's why there's two sides to everything. This is going to become a part 2 because there's a few more things I want to do to this steady rest. You can see how out of line those are. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take these out. Like I said, that is going to be a part 2. And every one of them are like that. You've seen me when I did these pins, I put the pins through and then I did the groove. And I can see that those are well off. Pause you for. I put a wrist pin out of a piston in here, and that's turning nice. Now, I'm just gonna. You see that's not center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hole, I'm going to put it on the back side. Doesn't matter where it is. And you can see that the groove is in line with the pin. But the hole is not in line with the groove. And if I move down to the bottom ones, you can see, well, just one second here. See if I can zoom you in closer on that. There, you can see how that's not lined up. So we're going to correct that. We're just going to flip these 180 degrees, no problem whatsoever, and they'll run nice and true. And probably what I'll do is I'll leave the pin in there. That's going to be part 2, folks. You guys got to be getting tired. I know I'm getting tired. It's been a long video. Glad I could share this with you. We're going to straighten this up a little bit more. I've got to re-drill these holes on the back side. I'm also going to take and make a little bit of so they can fit up inside a little better. Maybe, maybe not. Another thing I've always not liked about this steady rest is the fit of this hinge. It's just horrible. So we're going to make a new hinge pin too. So new hinge pin. Get these around the back and maybe open up these holes just a little bit so these can retract more into them. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but this has been a big improvement. Thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed. Hit the like, subscribe button. Please share the video. Got to thank all those people that have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it.